So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about how to use somatic practices and tools with children who are autistic, ADHD, or a combination thereof. If you're new to Glow Within, welcome. My name is Katie Connolly. I'm a registered clinical counselor, craniosacral therapist, mom to two, among a few other things. So I'm a neuroaffirming somatic clinical counselor, which means that I work with neurodivergent individuals to help them reconnect with their body. And my purpose in doing this is particularly for adults, there's been a disconnection very often with the body. And this happens for a number of reasons. And secondly, and maybe most importantly in some ways, is how can I use these practices to empower parents to help empower their children to stay connected with their body so they don't go through the disconnection, the trauma, and unhealthy coping skills. So this becomes a little bit tricky sometimes with some people who are neurodivergent, not through any fault, but just because we have different ways of connecting with our bodies and experiencing the world around us. So what is very typical, and this also happens outside of neurodivergent individuals, is there's a tendency to be either hyper aware of what's going on in our body, so being what we might call in layman's terms overly sensitive to what's happening in our body, and then hyposensitive, so not aware of what's going on in our body. And so when I'm talking about what's going on in our body, I'm referring to what are those interoceptive or internal cues. The ability to feel our heartbeat, to notice our feet, to notice tension in our tummy or in our low back, in our jaw, etc. So it's very common to see that either hyper awareness and it becomes really overstimulating, or hypo, that lack of awareness, and then the back and forth depending on the individual state. And so this is why I say it's also sometimes seen more and more of in individuals who don't identify as being neurodivergent, because our systems are beyond capacity, and as a society we have become quite disconnected from our bodies. So part of this is sort of how we were socialized as children. It can be that we've experienced trauma in our life, so our body's no longer a safe place to be. It can be that we are so busy and preoccupied with all of the things that we need to do that we're constantly drawn out of the body, which is very common in our day and age. And then along with that, when we're constantly experiencing all of these things drawing us out of our body, we tend to be more prone to burnout and traumatic experiences because we just are not aware, so we don't have that capacity. So when it comes to supporting autistic, ADHD, and the overlap between the two with interoceptive skills, it's important to understand that because we all experience our body and being in this world differently, we also need to approach connecting to our body differently. And so lots of people will ask me, how do you start doing this? And I always begin by laying a really strong foundation. So it's not something that I dive right into with most individuals. Some individuals, as I've shared, tend to be more aware of what's happening in their body. And so then it becomes that process of sort of titrating. It's like, okay, there's awareness of what's happening in the body, and now can I resource myself to my environment, right? So kind of finding that balance. And really that's what this is all about. How can I be in this world and still connected to my experience and be able to understand my experience so that I know if I'm in a healthy space or an unhealthy space, and how I can move through that experience for my well-being. So when we look at it with individuals, it might be sort of that drop down, like I shared, like, is there tension in the jaw? What are you noticing in your neck and shoulders? What about in your chest, low back, legs and feet? And there's often a disconnect with legs and feet, particularly if there's a propensity to be out of the body. But equally as important is how is that experience showing up? So it's not just those physiological cues, but is there an expression? Is there a way of sort of becoming this expression or this experience in your body? And this is where that yoga piece for me has really come in. So for children and adults, is there an animal that this experience or this expression evokes? So for example, anger. Okay, so maybe the animal would be a lion. How would an angry lion move, right? Like, how would an angry lion sound? Is there a color connected with this? So really bringing in all of those learning pieces, right? So we've got the kinesthetic, we have the auditory, and we have the visual that we're working with to make it a very vivid experience for the individual so they can understand what's happening in their body. This is really an amazing tool to share with children, particularly before they learn maybe the names of emotions. And I have another video on that because I think the name it to tame it thing is a little bit backwards. I'll let you watch that video though. But it's really important to understand that whole expression in the body, because when we do, we're able to understand, okay, this is what's happening for me. This is exactly what's showing up. This is how I need to move through it. So not just witness what's happening to me, but how can I be proactive in my well-being and move through it or get the support that I need? And so that's a really, really key piece, particularly for children's safety. And that's a big one for me. So some of the other tools that I use include body mapping. One of my favorite tools I used as a child. I didn't know it was a therapeutic tool until about 5-6 years ago, I guess. But really, how can you help the individual or your child connect to their emotions and experiences so that they can process them in a very holistic way and understand them and get the support they need, whether they're hyposensitive to or to what's going on in their body, and even if they're non-speaking, right? So there's more than just speaking to this process, which I think is really beautiful, because words are powerful, but they're also limiting in the sense that they're very much connected to the cognitive. Whereas when we're able to express it, through movement and sound and color, we're able to really tap into that experience in the body. So if you would like to learn more, comment sacred. I have a number of really amazing courses for adults and children to be able to dive deeper into this. And if you have any questions, leave them below and I will respond.